Hello, my name's Kirsten and today I am propagating this watermelon peperomia. I have had this plant for about a year and when I first got it, it had these big massive leaves, tons of them, and it was really closely compact, and I really thought it was absolutely stunning. But I realised even when I saw it in the nursery that might be a little bit of a problem because it was so compact and the leaves were so big that the new growth underneath wasn't able to sort of see the light, and I didn't know kind of what would happen with that. So what has happened is that these have grown out slowly, but the new growth that did grow inside has just basically come out with all of these little ratchety little marks and rips and everything where the stems have ripped them as they have been trying to come out and get the light, and there's just absolutely tons of those. As the plant has got bigger now and they're kind of moving out, you can see that there's lots of lovely new growth inside. There's still all these old ratchety parts, so I am going to get rid of those and turn those into new plants. Give this basically a little bit of a haircut so it's nice and new and all the new growth can come in and I can have a beautiful round perfect peperomia. I also quickly want to touch on cold damage. You might notice some of the leaves here are kind of yellow. I did lose a few leaves in the winter when they got cold. Basically they got cold damage. They do not like the cold. They need an even temperature. I wouldn't have it below 17 degrees Celsius for very long. It does not like it. It's quite a sensitive plant, so yeah, it needs the heat. It can kind of survive without the humidity high, although obviously it doesn't like it. But yeah, it needs a lot of heat, so you get a lot of these yellowing leaves. And we've just literally had a kind of cold frost recently, and it was next to a window because I'd moved it back to its sort of summering position thinking it was going to be safe, but then this leaf turned yellow. But not to worry, because we can turn that into a new plant too. So essentially now I am going to zoom in. So this is basically a kind of prime example of what's happened. This was a sort of juvenile leaf last year and it couldn't see the light because of all the big leaves and it got mullered. Essentially it got ripped and torn. This is another one here. I mean, there's just loads of them inside. Now, the thing is they are actually photosynthesizing, and I don't really like to get rid of too many leaves while they're still doing this job because obviously it's helping the plant. But I do want to give it a bit of a haircut. So I'm going to kind of take them out of the more compact areas or get the absolutely worst ones. So what we need is a sharp knife, and I'm just going to go ahead and slice it there. Brilliant. So some people propagate this by stem. Apparently you can put the stem in water and roots come out the bottom. However, I did try that and the stem just rotted, and obviously that was quite problematic. So yeah, that didn't work for me. So I'm going to do another method, which I will show you in a sec. So let's just get a couple more of these. Really difficult. You've got to make sure that you're not actually slicing any other part of the plant whilst you're doing this. That's quite a big leaf and I know it looks bad, but I just feel like it's doing so much work, so I'm going to leave that in there. I might just take this one. I know there's not a lot going on this side, but actually if I just point this towards the light, all of the leaves will come around anyway. And this one, I see it every day and it just really bugs me. I'm also going to get rid of this sort of yellowing one as well because it is dying, and you can, even though it is dying, so it's not doing the plant all that much good, you can actually propagate from it. I've done that before and I'll show you one I did from that in a second. Are there any other? Oh, that one's also one that got the cold damage here. Luckily we're in the growing season now, so this will go nuts pretty quickly and I'm not really too fussed about that. Okay, I think that's actually all I'm willing to take. As you can see though, there's lots and lots and lots of new growth inside. There's so much coming out. Just an FYI, by the way, when the leaves have started to turn yellow, there's no going back. They're not going to like get green again. So, I mean, if you have the opportunity just to kind of take them off, then definitely do it. When a leaf starts to turn yellow like this, it's still called senescence. And once senescence starts, there's like no return. So it might take a while for it to happen, but this is never going to get fully green again. I don't know how well that's sort of like showing up that it is. I mean, if you look at the difference between a proper coloured one and a yellow one, but we can actually make this work. So I mentioned that stemmed up propagation doesn't really work for me, so I'm just going to carefully cut these stems off. Just so you know, this propagation method has worked every time for me. So that is one that I did. And as you can see, this is quite a successful propagation. This is another one I did in soil, and a kind of other one I did in soil. I don't know why this one's sort of smaller, but I would say for me, sphagnum moss wins the day 100%. And with that in mind, I've prepared a whole load of sphagnum moss here. And I got these as well. They came with some plants that I planted outside. They were like lobelias, but I thought this was very, very good for propagation. So I've pre-moistened this sphagnum moss, and I'm just going to put it in all of these little containery parts. So we've got that, and the next thing we need to do is actually cut the leaf in half, because out of each of these sort of green veins will come roots, and roots will also come out of the back there. So this top part of the leaf kind of gets it from two places, but the bottom part of the leaf can still use these to actually grow roots. Very gently. We've got that, and now just put it in there and then pack the sphagnum around it. This one, make sure always to get the actual stemmy part under the sphagnum as well, because that will give you really good roots. You can do this in soil, as I have showed, but it is just so much better to do it in sphagnum, in my experience. I suppose it kind of depends on your environment, or maybe your experience if you are particularly good at soil propagation. I think it works better in humid climates, but not so much in the UK. Well, not for me, that's for sure. This one's going to be a bit of a squeeze, but it doesn't really matter. Right, because these are actually quite massive, I am going to put these in this. I don't think, I mean, I could have cut it in half, I suppose, but there's still no more places for roots to come through. It's got a set amount of rooting veiny things, and that's what you get. So actually I think it might have hindered my progress. You know, there's always sort of, you know, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's obviously missing one there. There would normally be another outer one. And so I don't really want to cut it in half and just make it with one with 3. That's just my opinion on it. So I have a giant prop box downstairs, and I do like to keep my propagation separate, hence I'm sort of utilising these here. But I'm going to put them in there, and that will keep the moisture inside and the humidity inside, and I'll just check that it's always you know, nice and humid. So in my experience, it usually takes a month or 2 to see anything, and this has actually taken, what, maybe 4 months, but bear in mind it hasn't been that hot. Look at that, so pretty, so pretty. And here you can see this is the soil propagation, which, you know, it's got quite a few, and these, look, they line up. You can see kind of the remnants of the veins there, and these line up totally with the veins. So out of each vein you get kind of a potential of a new plant, and that's quite exciting, really. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell if you want to see more. Cheerio.